Hello, welcome back to another episode of A Spiritual Ascension, my own 5-year journey. So when I left off, I was now kind of just sleeping in my car. Had been going to the same hotel every night and kind of pulling in there late at night and sleeping in the parking lot. Um, and then kind of getting up, going to the gym in the morning, taking a shower, and going to my corporate job. And no one knew. No one absolutely knew. Um, it's crazy to think that looking back at my career of having worked on Wall Street for almost 20 years and the amount of money that I was making working in finance and living this really good life in Manhattan, having access to so many things, and my life to kind of totally flip over to now living in my car and um, not knowing what was going to be next. At least I had the security of my job at this point, but it still kind of felt like, okay, is this just temporary? Like, spirit, is there an answer to this? It's just for a couple weeks or like what? Anyway, after, if you've watched the last episode, getting kind of kicked out of the hotel parking lot where I was, I knew that Cracker, you can like stay at Cracker Barrel parking lot, in the parking lot, like in your RV or camper, even just like if you're traveling and you need some place to just park and rest. It's like they consider like a rest stop. Like they're open to that, which is like a really great thing. I think that's awesome because you don't know how many people, as I observed later on, take, I don't want to say take advantage of it. It's not taking advantage of, but are using that opportunity because they don't have anywhere else to go. And after going to the gym the next morning, going to work, like nothing had happened, got dressed, and I looked, normal. The only thing is I was not laying flat for many weeks at night. And so all the blood kind of goes down to your feet. And so my ankles were pretty like swollen from that. I forget what they call that. Um, and I was hoping nobody would notice. So like wearing my shoes and everything, like my feet were like really swollen, and ankles especially were swollen from not being laying in like a prone position. So the next night I got out of work, and usually I would kind of roam around for a while before um, kind of going to wherever I was going to go that night. But now I was going to try out um, Cracker Barrel for the first time. I think they closed at 7 o'clock, and I didn't want to like park and people coming out of the restaurant and stuff like that because I didn't know how many other campers and other people would be parked. And I was surprised that so many people do use that service of theirs. I don't know if you call it a service, that opportunity, that whatever it is, like it's really a gift for so many people. And a lot of is it was still, now we're going into August. So around that area, it's big tourist season. And so there's a lot of campers parked. So I'm like, oh, okay, this shouldn't be a problem. And I parked near the entrance. I probably went just after that 7 o'clock closing time. And I was really surprised at how many other cars, just cars, there was that were parking and people in there sleeping. And people would put up their shades. And I think I had learned about that. I knew nothing about getting shades like for the cars and stuff like that that people do. I think watching a video, I saw somebody do that. I went to Walmart and I bought some shades. Let me just take a quick drink. My iced tea, getting parched. Um, so I bought enough shades to cover all my windows. Oh, I know what I missed. Okay, let's back up. Sorry. Because I'm kind of reliving this as I'm telling you guys. I think one day I was sitting in Walmart parking lot and it kind of hit me that, wait a minute, like I don't feel like I'm going to be able to get a place anytime soon, rent a room or whatever it may be. I'm not going to be able to do that anytime soon. So I was seeing a lot of people, even in Walmart. Walmart is another place where you can stay. They allow you to sleep in the parking lot at night. And so I said, you know what? If I'm going to do this for a while, let me get the shades for the windows. Then I have all my belongings, all my stuff in the back of my Jeep. And if I take all that stuff out, I'll be able to lay down, put the seats down and lay down and be able to sleep back there. I just have to get some blankets and maybe, it was still, just early August then. So I got the bright idea to get a small storage unit. So I went and I put all my stuff that was in the back of the car, all my belongings, because that's everything I had, all my belongings in the storage unit. And that cost me maybe $40, $50 or something like that a month. And then I got some blankets and kind of made a little bedding on one side. And then on the other side, I kind of kept my laundry baskets of clothing so that when I went into the gym every morning, I would have my clothes. I could just grab some undergarments, grab a top, grab some pants, and go in, take a shower, change, and then go to work. And went to the store, got a bunch of blankets. I got that kind of thick foam thing to kind of put down first, and then a bunch of blankets. I already had a pillow, and I was like, oh my goodness, why didn't I think about this before? So when I went to Cracker Barrel, I put up my shades and my bed was laid down. And I was like, oh my goodness, this is like the most terrific thing ever, because I'm saying like so many people, like I understand I'm not a camper or, you know, RV camp, tent person at all. And there is something about sleeping, even though I was in my car, there's something about being outside in nature, sleeping overnight. And the couple times that it rained, hearing the rain on the roof of the car, or hearing, nature, the whatever animal sounds at night. And I was really surprised that the time of sleeping in Cracker Barrel parking lot, like people that wrote kind of went in there, kind of knew like you drive in and you be quiet, like zipper it up. And never really had any issues, or there was one I'll tell you about, but um, never really had anyone like be really loud next to me, maybe a few times, but they would stop, soon after. Sometimes I would always park kind of in the front by the main entrance, just so if anything happened. Um, and I would hear the employees coming out after leaving the shift for the night, and they would kind of be talking a little bit, but that was really it. So now this throughout the rest of July. That's what I did. August, when yeah, no, July was probably still at the hotel. I'm sorry. August, all of August, I ended up staying in the parking lot. Now we're going into September, and kind of the same thing. I don't think too much happened in September, and I think pretty much time that. Um, I remember I said I was going to go back down to Wells for Labor Day weekend and just kind of park like I did before, and just, sit and watch the water stuff. And I drove down to Wells, and oh my goodness, I didn't know tourist season was that bad, because I really hadn't been to the beaches. I had gone to Orchard Beach, but I hadn't gone, like I drove around and I walked on the main kind of main street where they have all the shops and stuff, but I didn't really go to the beach. But going to Wells now, there was no parking. I drove around the parking lot a couple times. I pulled into this, I saw a spot open up and I pulled in, and the people next to me, parked next to me, gave me the dirtiest look. And I was like, what the heck is wrong with them? And they kept looking at me and eyeing me down. And I'm like, what the heck? And I'm like, "Ugh, these people." And I get out the car and I'm heading towards the beach. And the attendant lady comes over to my car and she's like, you can't park there. And I'm like, why? And she says, because this is only for residents. And I'm like, so she says, you don't see the sign? So I looked, and the sign had kind of been bent over, and there's a special parking area only for like Wells residents. And I was like, oh, okay. So I was wondering why these people were giving me like the dirtiest look. So I rode around again trying to see if anybody's pulling out, and nobody was. And so that's the only thing about, I know I was just reading some article about live the good and bad about living in Maine. And, of course it's cold and we have the snow and the long winters and stuff, which I kind of like. But everybody comes up for tourist season, and a lot of people are buying houses up here too. So it's like gets really, really crowded and crazy, especially along the coast, um, from Memorial Day to Labor Day. And then people also come up for the fall leaves too. So I just said, F it. And I left there. I don't know if I went anywhere else afterwards, but I learned, you know what? I have this to myself from from when Labor Day ends to Memorial Day starts. And I can come here to beach. There's nobody on the beach really at any time. Like when I first got to Wells in the beginning, it was the beginning of May and it was still so cold. Not so cold, but it was cold. It was like in the 50s. Nobody out there. And it was so beautiful. And to have that space so open and like that's the time I kind of enjoy being at the beach is when it's a little cooler and just have like a sweater on. So anyway, while I was staying at the staying in the parking lot at Cracker Barrel, I was able to just start accumulating money, like just saving money now, because I wasn't paying for, just buying my food. And I would usually wake up at like 4:45. I know it's early. 4:45 and McDonald's would open at 5 a.m. And like when I got up at 4 a.m., or 4:45 a.m., I would kind of get myself together, in the car. Um, just kind of wash up my face and stuff. And then the thing was too, I had learned that I like after 12 o'clock, I knew it was bad, but like after 12 o'clock when I was at work, like I wouldn't drink anything else the rest of the day. I know it's really bad because I know if even though I would like kind of stop at McDonald's before I went to Cracker Barrel to use the restroom and then kind of all day um go all night, I'm sorry, all night go without going to the restroom. So then McDonald's opened at 5, the drive-through. I would get coffee and then I would drive down to Walmart and kind of sit in the parking lot there. And then Walmart opened at 6 a.m. And I would go in there every day and get my food or whatever supplies I needed and get food that I could just microwave, some yogurts. We had a refrigerator at work. So I was able to like keep a bag of food in the refrigerator there of like yogurts and anything like soups and things like that. And then of course I could keep crackers but if I wanted to get a sandwich or actual like pre-made dinner, like I would usually go to Walmart every morning. Plus that's where I would go to a restaurant every morning. 6 o'clock, they were open up the first, I would like Zoom for the restaurant and then go get my food. And I think they kind of like started recognizing me in there. Like, oh, it's funny how you do recognize those who are probably homeless, and you kind of know. Anyway, what time is it? Yeah, I'm going to end this one here. And then I think we're up to kind of the end of September now because I had just been that was my daily routine of going to work and then going to Cracker Barrel and sleeping at night and then getting up. It was a repeat cycle for all that time. And I was just trying to save money to say, okay, when I could get a place, and I figured it's going to start getting cold in October. So I knew I was going to have to start looking like early October for a place. So I'm going to leave this one here and I'll see you in the next one.